Today I want to talk a little bit about Isaiah 45 and Isaiah 44, specifically about Cyrus and who he was. So in the book of Isaiah, it was written approximately 200 years before Cyrus was ever born and before he ever freed the Jewish people from Babylon. And Cyrus was the Persian king who came and freed the Jewish people in Babylon. What's so interesting about the story, the biblical narrative, is that Daniel the prophet was alive when Cyrus conquered Babylon without one person dying, the greatest city and nation state, um, of Babel that ever really existed. And of course, Babylon was more than one city. But what's so interesting is how Cyrus actually and his army um, were able to sneak into the city and actually conquer the city without one person being killed. It's actually miraculous and amazing. But I want to read something to you because when Cyrus the Great met with Daniel the prophet, Daniel handed him the scroll of Isaiah, which what we're seeing here on the screen is part of that. And Cyrus was so astonished and so shocked and just amazed that he actually ended up letting the Jewish people go and giving them money and supplies to rebuild Jerusalem. It's really actually amazing. So I'd like to read a little bit here from the scroll of Isaiah, also known as the book of Isaiah. Here in Isaiah 44, verse 28, the Lord is saying, speaking of Cyrus, calls him out by name 200 years before Cyrus was born. That saith of Cyrus, he is my shepherd, and he shall perform all my pleasure, even saying to Jerusalem, thou shalt be built, and to the temple, thy foundation shall be laid. Cyrus, when he grew up as a boy, was actually a shepherd. Even though he was Persian and they had their own gods, he was a shepherd. So here the Lord is calling him out by name, calling him out with his profession, which he was a shepherd before he became king. And it's just unbelievable. And check this out here. So the Lord's saying in Isaiah chapter 45, verse 1, thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue nations before him, and I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him two levied gates, and the gates shall not be shut. And what's interesting about this is God is using Cyrus, a man who didn't know him, to set the Jewish people free. And it's amazing because where it says, I will open before him two gates, the Persian army actually walked into the city and nobody was killed. And they conquered the entire city, one of the greatest nations to have ever existed, which is Babylon. It's the story is amazing. There's a lot of details. I won't go into all of them, but I want to read here. For Jacob, my servant's sake, which is a reference to Israel here, and Israel, mine elect, I have even called thee by name. I have surnamed thee. Thou hast not known me. So God's saying, I've chosen you, but you don't know me. It even says in here that, in verse 13 here, that he shall build my city, which is Jerusalem, and he shall let go my captives, not for price nor reward, saith the Lord of hosts. So Cyrus actually gave the Jewish people supplies and money as a gift. And what's absolutely fascinating about this is Isaiah the prophet was written 200 years before it happened. It calls out Cyrus by name. It calls out his profession as a shepherd. It calls him out as being king. It calls him out as subduing nations. And actually, historians who don't believe in God claim that Isaiah was written after Cyrus conquered Babylon. But guess what? There's evidence, and the reason that Cyrus actually freed the Jewish people and gave them effectively a gift and a lump sum of money and supplies is because he was so shocked when Daniel the prophet handed him this scroll. And it's absolutely amazing what God can do. And the important thing here is God can use people who don't know him to accomplish his will. And so it's so important that we pray and seek out God and see what the future has in store. So thank you for listening and have a good day.